This is a Balanced Brain podcast with your hosts, Melanie Nicholson and Sean Clift.
Hi, welcome back to the Balanced Brain podcast. My name's Sean Clift, and we're going to do another one of our quick little brain snaps. So we're just going to give our good friend and co-host Melanie Nicholson a ring because she's been doing a little bit of fasting. I spoke to her about it the other day, and I thought it'd be great for her to check in with us and give us some information on it. So let's give her a buzz. She's waiting for us. Okay, it's ringing. Here we go. Hey, Melanie. Thanks for joining us. You're being recorded for the podcast. The fasting, tell us all about it. What's been happening?
Yeah, I decided to do 3 days fasting, so 72 hours. I normally eat really well and pretty healthy, but I just had a couple of weeks of, just excess. And I started feeling like crap and, just had indigestion and heartburn and stuff. And I thought, I'm going to have to do something. So I was reading a bit about it, actually. Just being good to reset your immunity and just have a break. So I thought I'd give it a go.
Right, well, how did it go? What happened?
Yeah, it went really well. So I kind of set an intention for the 3 days. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get through this. I'm not a big breakfast eater. I actually rarely eat brekkie, so I knew mornings weren't going to be a problem. But I love my dinner, so I knew that was going to be the toughest. So I was just deciding what was going to be the hardest. Smashed the water, just drank heaps of water. And just before dinner, like I normally eat early, and probably about 4:35, I just did a meditation the first day. Just mindfulness and just going like, okay, it's only 3 days.
So Mel, just 3 days, no food at all? So not intermittent fasting, not just no food at all?
I'm an all or nothing person, Sean. I'm all or nothing. So I do so for a long time I did intermittent fasting. I used to do the 5-2,
Yeah.
So, but this time
this is another level.
Yeah, because it was kind of like I saw it as a reset, and that's what I've been reading about it, that there is evidence that just 3 days can reset the immune system, and that's how I was like, okay, there's some stuff about it. I'm going to give it a go. So
what did you read about it? What have you heard?
Yes, I couldn't find much on it, but I just found that just 3 days of just water fasting, which is quite common in a lot of cultures and has been done, for a long time. A lot of people practice it. Just has a really positive impact on the immune system. It really it allows the body to not use energy and calories to digest. So, So I was really interested in that. I couldn't find an awful lot about it, but I think it's going to start coming out. But I decided to use that as a motivator. In my mind, it was a reset. So it was really interesting to read that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of research out there and a lot of studies around intermittent fasting, and I've got friends of mine that have done it and tried it. I've read up a little bit about it myself. I have a very physical job. I've kind of thought about doing it, but I really need the fuel just to get me through the day. But I know there's a lot of positive benefits to intermittent fasting, but 3 days no food and only water is another level. How did your mind cope? What was your mind doing? What was your thoughts like over that period?
Yeah, so my mind, it was really interesting because I was really quite calm about it. It is more to me when you're doing fasting like that, and I wouldn't recommend it for a physical job. I'm lucky in that I am working on the computer all day. I did a workout on the Monday morning, first up, and then I just walked for a couple of, Tuesday and Wednesday. But I definitely wouldn't recommend it for a physical job. I think that would be really difficult. I guess it was just the motivation to try and do it because to feel better. Like I really just had days of indigestion and heartburn, and I know a lot of people suffer from that. So that went after 3 days because I do think it is a reset. But in terms of mental stuff, I just the second day around just before dinner was really tough. I'm like, I can't do another day of this.
Yeah.
And then I just really felt into that. Like, I'm like, well, it's just 3 days in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I was having a little self-talk, this is a challenge. I can do it. It's only 3 days. And, so I just mentally I really just really felt into what it was about. I knew I wasn't going to die or anything.
Yeah,
you can
okay.
actually go 30 days without food. Like if you're out in the middle of nowhere, like an average man could go 30 days without food. Like there's heaps of, information.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been something that our ancient ancestors did all the time, would be go for 3 days without food.
Yeah, yep. So, and the other interesting thing is that after the 3 days, I didn't go crazy or anything, because what you find is, like, my first meal, like, I don't know about this shrinking stomach theory, but I really didn't want to overeat. It was like even a reset of portions, because I can eat huge portions for a girl, like especially of protein, but I just found that I didn't have the desire to, because I really like the feeling of the lightness of just the 3 days of fasting. So
what happened afterwards? Did you continue with anything, or was it just a one-off kind of thing? Like what's happening now?
No, what I have always, I've done this for a long time, maybe even 10 years. So I did the 5-2 thing, which is where you're generally really good for 5 days, and you probably only eat 2 meals a day. Like I've generally only ever eaten 2 meals a day. And then on the weekend, you just let yourself go, like just for 24 hours. So that really worked for me. I have to be really careful, because in my 20s I had an eating disorder, and so it's absolutely not recommended for anyone who's had an eating disorder. But then that has changed the theory around that. It's just about becoming more mindful of hunger and when you actually need to eat, and what the motivation is to eat, because with any sort of disordered eating, it can be quite mindless eating and to fill a void. And I don't need to do that anymore. I've worked through that. So that was another consideration for me. So that's what I would say to any listeners, is just to be careful of your own medical history and your motivation for fasting.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
Yeah, sure. Good advice. Yeah.
So for anyone out there who's listening who's had any disordered eating in the past, definitely speak to your doctor first. That's what I would say. But for anyone else, I think it's quite interesting how it helped with mental clarity. That was something I really noticed.
Okay.
I think that's what I noticed, and I was just really surprised that I didn't go crazy after 3 days.
Yeah, wow. I would have gone crazy.
In my history, that's what's important too. It just showed how much healthier my relationship is with food, where, it was just something that was an interesting experiment. It really did get rid of my indigestion, by the way.
Great.
And, so I don't know. I think it's worthwhile to reinvestigate. I think for a lot of people, people think they just have to eat all the time. They don't actually listen to their body if it's hungry, and a lot of the times they're actually thirsty. Need to drink more water.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think
it's a really good way to actually just come back into your body and understand what hunger is about, and that you're not going to die if you don't eat for a couple of days. I think that's a really different way for particularly Westerners to look at food, because it's so abundant. It's always there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's really good to actually understand that's what our relationship is with food in wealthy countries. Like, it's just always there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's really interesting, Mel. I mean, I've been doing a little bit of research and a little bit of looking into intermittent fasting, and I've had a couple of friends of mine, like I said, that have been trying it, that have had good results. So, hey, let's put a couple of notes, a couple of links in our show notes to some intermittent fasting sites. People can check it out for themselves and think if it's something they might want to give a try. But, hey, listen, great to catch up. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you, Sean.
Any good surf in Newcastle at the moment?
No, it's died today. It'll be dead for the next few days, so, yeah.
Well, hopefully
it'll
there's some...
resurface next week, apparently.
Good. Hey,
it's all about the winds.
Great to catch up.
Yeah, it's great to catch up, Sean.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Bye.